This is an illustration of the Deakin University Blue Carbon Lab's Citizen Science Project, TeaComposition H2O. Blue carbon is carbon dioxide that is captured and stored by the oceans. The major blue carbon ecosystems are coastal wetland seagrass meadows, tidal marshes, and mangrove forests, but also include freshwater wetlands and aquatic seaweeds, stream, and pond ecosystems. Recently, scientists have found out how important these ecosystems are. Wetlands draw massive amounts of carbon, worth $66 million per annum. They draw carbon down 40 times faster than forests, and are also able to store up to 50 times as much carbon as forests can. Wetlands can store carbon for thousands of years, with wetland stored carbon currently valued at around $23 billion in Australia alone. This makes wetlands one of the world's most effective ecosystems for carbon, and the maintenance or loss of these ecosystems would have massive impact on the Earth's climate. The vegetation in these systems protect against coastal erosion, and 90% of Australia's recreationally caught fish spend part of their life in blue carbon habitats. There are still currently 980,000 hectares of Australian mangrove habitat, but the bad news is that 23 million tonnes of carbon have been released from storage after wetland losses in Australia since European settlement. Also, not all wetlands are as great as another, as some store carbon better than others, and some even lose carbon. The question is that we need to find out what the best carbon storage wetlands are, so that we know which ones to protect and restore, where to spend our time and resources. We haven't been able to monitor and compare the carbon in these ecosystems in the past because the equipment needed has been far too expensive, especially when trying to deploy it worldwide. However, the good news is that Blue Carbon Lab at Deakin University have launched a cost-effective citizen science program to monitor carbon loss and carbon storage rates called TeaComposition H2O. Head of the Blue Carbon Lab, Peter McCready, has been reading about research where teabags were being buried in soil to measure the rates that carbon was being released as the tea decomposed. Peter then wondered, why have we only been using teabags to monitor carbon in soil and not wetlands as well? And so, the TeaComposition H2O project was started. The experiment involves volunteer citizen scientists digging over 19,000 green and red Lipton tea bags into over 350 wetland sites throughout 35 different countries around the world. The point of the experiment is to help us better understand how carbon is retained or lost as different wetland types decompose, and to better understand the functions of the microorganism communities that drive the decomposition process. First, a 10-centimetre hole is dug into the ground and the tea bag is dropped in. The tea bags are numbered, labelled, and their GPS position is noted, with between 40 and 80 tea bags being buried at each site. The green tea bags will decompose faster than the red tea bags, giving the lab a range between the two decomposition rates to compare against each other. The tea bags are monitored for 3 years in total, being dug up after 3 months, 6 months, then annually for the next 2 years. This research will then provide information on the wetlands that store carbon the fastest and hold it for the longest. Knowing which wetlands are the most valuable in terms of holding and storing carbon means we know which types of wetlands we need to protect, and which will give us a better idea of which ones will be the most valuable to restore. This could help us avoid having any further wetlands that have been storing massive amounts of carbon for thousands of years being destroyed. This will keep that carbon safe and in the ground, rather than releasing it into our atmosphere and further contributing to climate change.